we're doing a series review. Because guess who read a whole entire series? Mostly in February. Yeah. I started and finished it. I also started it when I was a teenager. So it's also like a long-term goal. So let's just get right on into it. This series, the Heir Chronicles, is comprised of 5 books. Of course, all by Cinda Chima. This is her first series that she wrote, and the only one that I have read so far. So the first book is the Warrior Heir, then you have Wizard Heir, and then the Dragon Heir. This was the original trilogy. And then later on, she added the Enchanter Heir and the Sorcerer Heir. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give, a brief outline of what the series, what each book was about, tell you my rating for the book, and then talk more generally about what I liked and disliked about the series. So the first book, The Warrior Heir, follows Jack, who is a warrior, and he doesn't know it at the beginning, so like typical fantasy trope. This is her first book. It is a little tropey and not everybody likes it, but I love it, so there you go. I actually adore this book. And basically, in the wizarding world that Jack doesn't know about, the War of the Roses never stopped. So wizards have been fighting for hundreds of years, White Rose and Red Rose, and after a while they were like, it's stupid that we're killing each other. Let's not do that anymore. So they used proxy fights using warriors, who are an inferior magical race. And so Jack has to go and fight. That's basically the plot of the book, only there's like more things that happen. I have a lot of nostalgia around this book. I love the characters. Like, there's just not much about this book that I don't think I like. I rated it 4 out of 5, and I love Jack. I think he's very sweet. There's also a love plot in there, which is like 10 out of 10. Next, we have The Wizard Heir, which is about Seth. This is upside down. So, he's a wizard, and he knows he's a wizard. He was brought up by an enchanter, and when she died, because he was an orphan and was being looked after by her, he gets sent to this magical school, which I think is going to be fun until you find that it's full of tyrants and it's awful, and they're going to try and kill Seth. Because he's powerful. And then his parents, who he didn't know, rescues him, and he goes to live in Trinity with Jack. So it's lots of fun, lots of death, and almost death, and I really enjoyed it. He also falls in love, which is great. Love me a good love story. Then finally, in the original trilogy, we have the Dragon Heir. You might be wondering, Colleen, what is a dragon? Well, that's a very good question, because it was not really answered in the first 3 books either. So basically in this realm there's like 5 different magical guilds. You have wizards, who can use conjury words, warriors, who are magically strong, seers, who can see the future, enchanters, who can charm people, and sorcerers, who can craft magical objects like swords. A lot of swords and poisons, which is very important in the next 2 reviews. So the dragon is introduced. There's like a whole new character, a whole new set of things, and there's this lore about the dragon stone, which is where all of the Weir, where the magical wielding people in the universe, get their power. And then the stone becomes a person. So like that's also very important. The mild peace that was brokered in the first 2 books completely erodes, and the War of the Roses starts again. They attack Trinity, some people die, and then there's peace again. Or so we think. Then enters, several years later, the Enchanter Heir, the 4th book. So this one follows a whole new set of characters and a whole new problem. It springs from an magical accident at a place called Thornhill, which was a commune for enchanters and sorcerers mostly, other underguildlings, and their water supply got poisoned, which left a whole bunch of mutants, which are also called savants, or lab rats if you're a wizard. And yeah, so this follows some new characters. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't. I really loved Emma Claire, and I have mixed feelings about Jonah. Emma Claire grew up more in the South, and she plays the blues and makes guitars, so she's really cool. And Jonah, if he touches someone, he kills them. So I mean, like, there's not a lot of competition. But basically, this book introduces them and kind of lets them grow a little bit. You get to know about shades, who are zombies, which is a weird thing, and political shenanigans. Basically, there's just like political shenanigans. And this book gets murdery. It opens with the murder of the main character in this book, who is named Marissa Moss? Madison Moss. They killed Madison's sister. Madison is the dragon. She controls all the magic. So Madison gets really angry, so they decide that they're going to launch an inquiry, and then it's decided that it is Anchorage, which is the school where all Thornhill survivors are, is to blame. And then shenanigans happens. But then it ends really nicely. Everything gets wrapped up neatly, and it was actually quite a nice and lovely book. I realized that I forgot to tell you what I rated all the books. I rated them all 4 stars except for this one, which I rated 3 stars. And yeah, it's a really good series. I would have been happy if these two were not volume 4 and 5, but instead were like a companion duology, because I feel that's more where their place is. Like, especially the Enchanter Heir, it doesn't really have any of the characters from the original trilogy. This one does go and dive back more into Trinity and those people and who they are and how they work, which I really enjoyed because I missed them a lot in this book, which is one of the reasons that I got rated lower. It's also, the Enchanter Heir was just a little bit less magical, which I didn't really love because, I mean, I'm reading books about wizards, so I want me some magic. But yeah, so overall I rate this series a 4 to 5. Obviously I think it's definitely worth it. Again, there's a lot of personal preference to things like this, so if you don't like it, you don't like it, and that's fine, but I love it. I'm happy that I got to reread it, and I'm happy that I have it all in hardcover now because it's going to look real nice on my shelf. And I don't know, it's just, you know, it's my kind of series. And like, look at how pretty. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this series. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you've read this series, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And if you haven't, you know, think about picking it up. It's pretty fun. But we'll see you in the next video.